I don't believe that we should ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government.
Welcome back, everyone. We're Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, and the websites by plebs. Joining us today, fellow Bitcoiners, we've got Carla and Walker, the crypto couple. That's right. But first, we are diving into the numbers. Let's do it, Nico.
Number time! Brought to you by Bitcoin 2022. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference ever. It's in less than a month, guys. Get your tickets now before the price goes up. It's April 6th to the 9th. Speaker list is crazy. You have Naim Bukele of El Salvador, Michael Saylor, Saifedean, Adam Back, Jack Mahlers, Senator Lummis, and Dr. Jordan Peterson, many other big-time speakers. It's going to be an awesome celebration. Phil and I are on the meme panel. It's going to be really cool, and you can take advantage of the link down below for 10% off your tickets to the biggest, largest Bitcoin conference ever, Bitcoin 2022.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 727,949. The Bitcoin price, 42,215. Chain rewrite days, 760. Total public lightning capacity still climbing, 3,529.45. Moscow time, 2374. Blocks to the halvening, 112,051. And the Samurai Whirlpool unspent capacity. Samurai Whirlpool is a coin join or collaborative spend service. They've got 4,484.89 BTC in that pool, Nico. The numbers.
Keep saying it. Keep saying that unspent capacity because I suspect it will become illegal one day.
Is Bitcoin not dead again?
It's not dead yet. It's not dead yet, Phil. But anyways.
Look at us.
I thought this would be interesting. I got an email from a pleb. And he had a very interesting question. I think that we could all add to it. So I'm going to pop it up so you guys can see it tomorrow live. But I'm going to read it from my phone during the recording. But anyways. Says, hey brother, how's it going? My name is, I'm replacing his real name with Satoshi. So, nope, you know what? That might be a little confusing. Let's go with Bob. Okay, there we go. He says, hey brother, how's it going? My name is Bob, and I'm looking to get into Bitcoin. I'm really enjoying your show. The reason I'm writing to ask you about Bitcoin is because it's clear from your show that one of the main concerns is liberty. It's absolutely correct. I'm up in Canada, and as you can see, privacy is getting more and more important every day. I got a real kick out of the response from Nunchuck to my provincial court. If you guys don't understand that reference, that's when Nunchuck, this company, basically told the Canadian government, hey, listen, we don't have access to that Bitcoin, etc., etc. Is that a good place to start? I read about Samurai Wallet. Is that a better option? I have no idea. I understand I should create a node first. Anyways, I'm a complete noob. Any pointers would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for your time. Take care, fellow pleb, Bob. Bob, excellent question. A lot of stuff to unpack there. Okay, so first and foremost, first thing that you should do is take self-custody of your Bitcoin. A lot of people get caught up with the privacy stuff. The most important thing, the number one thing that matters is taking sole possession of your Bitcoin. That means buying a hardware wallet and, writing down those 24 words that the hardware wallet, randomly generates for you, right? And you put those 24 words in a very safe place. Ideally, you'd like to back them up in metal just in case if you want to be super hardcore. And then take all your Bitcoin off exchanges, put it on there. Now, I'll get to privacy last. The reason that you'd want to run a node is if you are using that hardware wallet and you're connecting Ledger to like Ledger Live, or you're connecting Ledger to Electrum server, right? Or you're connecting Ledger to any one of a Blue Wallet. If you're not using your node, you're using their node, meaning you're exposing all of your Bitcoin addresses to them so that they could theoretically know, they could surmise by, okay, this person has this much Bitcoin and I know his IP address. If you run your own node and you connect it to one of the many software wallets, which connects to your ledger, you're not trusting anybody. No one knows what your addresses are. In fact, when you send a transaction, you're sending that transaction through Tor, so no one even knows where that transaction occurred from, right? So, but so there's two things, and then the privacy stuff. Listen, I think it's important. It's good to, I guess if you are privacy centric. Personally, I just worry about taking self-custody. I definitely worry about running my own node. If you wanted to do some shady stuff on the internet, perhaps maybe privacy thing could be more important. I think in this moment in time, if you properly self-custody your Bitcoin, you take advantage of multi-sig, of separating your seeds in different geographical jurisdictions, I think that is the most important thing to do. But anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts on this? To Bob. To Bob.
Yes, to Bob, of course. Okay, so for the node, I mean, look, you gave a lot of great advice with the hardware wallet, self-sovereignty. So I'm not going to go over taking self-custody of your Bitcoin. So I'm not going to go over that piece. But in terms of a node, a lot of times people get confused because there's so many different node flavors and they want to know what the differences are. At the end of the day, it's really going to be a matter of partially your technical capability, number one. Number two, the price point that you're willing to pay. Number three, the type of user experience that you want to have. So, in my case, I run a MyNode. I also run a Raspberry Blitz. I also run an Umbrel. I also run an Embassy. Just because I like to run all these different flavors of nodes and I enjoy going through all the different, user experiences. I would say for, someone who's a total noob, I would probably, suggest something like a MyNode. But now moving on to the privacy aspect. So look, privacy is really difficult because it really is also a matter of your capability, your preference, and how much commitment you're really willing to make to privacy, because privacy is not that simple, right? Like we obviously, we see a lot of privacy LARPing and stuff like that, because people are online and they're talking about privacy, which is fantastic. We can't not talk about it. It's very important and we should absolutely have a right to it. But at the same time, it's very difficult, so you have to decide what degree of privacy you're going to have and how comfortable you are with it. I think, to me anyways, that's the best answer I can go to sleep with at night.
And one of the best ways, if you're really concerned about privacy, instead of thinking about the coin joins and all that, run your own node. Like that already, you're 90% good at that point. Right, if you want to put a tinfoil hat and you're really, really privacy centric, then perhaps you can go into the coin joins and stuff. But just by the mere fact of taking self-custody and running your own node, that is already in itself a lot of privacy, because once you run your own node, people don't know who you're transacting with. They have no idea, right? They don't even know if you own those keys per se, right? But anyways, the crypto couple. What are your thoughts on this question by Bob?
Well, the fact that Bob is a noob
talking about a node,
but is already talking about nodes.
Like, good for you, Bob.
Privacy, like Bob, wink, wink. You are already so far.
Hardly a noob.
Even a lot of Bitcoiners. Does Bob not even own any coins yet? Because if so, this is even more impressive.
Now I'm suspicious, honestly.
And now I'm like, is Bob a spook? I don't know.
Just kidding.
I'm kidding. But no, I think that you guys nailed it, first of all. The biggest thing I would say, at least for me when I was getting started out, was I want to try to figure out what is the easiest way that I can get a minimum viable product in terms of security, right? How can I, as I'm starting out, and especially maybe I'm not putting in too much right away. I'm putting in, maybe it's, a few bucks a week.
And this is fairly recent.
But I have a stack of different hardware wallets because I
2 years.
Like to play around with them over the course of the last several years, and it's fun. In terms of nodes, I run an Umbrel, but I started with a Raspberry Blitz, similarly to you, just because I thought that it's a really cool way to actually get my hands dirty with
and
this.
We just had one laying around.
And yeah, I happened to have picked up a couple of Raspberry Pis before there was a big shortage of them, because I was like, people might need these. But I think, Bob, the fact that you are already asking these questions and that you're already thinking about not just, okay, how do I buy Bitcoin, but how do I securely custody? How do I securely verify my Bitcoin? You are already multiple steps ahead, Bob. So you're already on the right track. Best thing you could do would just, number one thing, get yourself a hardware wallet and you're already further ahead, pardon me, than most people will be.
And then one thing I want to add to that is just to remember to do like security reviews every once in a while, because for the most part, he handles a lot of that. And then like we'll go and have review sessions where like I'll go through things like on certain weekends. But it's just good to keep a refresher because it's steps, it's stuff. You're fully responsible for that. If you mess it up, it's on you. So it's in your best interest to just keep training on it.
Self-custody is amazing. Like, it is incredible that we have, for the first time in history, an asset that is unconfiscatable. We just got back from the unconfiscatable conference, so that word is still in my head, But this is something that you can truly have custody over, like no other asset that you own. You can name any asset. You cannot own it the same way that you truly own Bitcoin. But with great power comes great responsibility. So you have to make sure, don't overcomplicate your setup and end up screwing yourself over. Keep it simple, stupid at first, do what you need to do. But Bob, the fact that you're already asking about these things, which are not complex to set up, but are complex things to start to think about, like nodes, like self-custody, like other deeper privacy things, coin joins. You're on the great path already, bud.
Yeah,
Bob.
Bob, exactly. Bob, right. You heard it. I hope we answered your question, brother. I just want to say, though, I thought Phil and I's chemistry was all-star. But you guys, holy crap, you guys are finishing each other's jokes and comments, and that was awesome. That's a pleasure.
We've known each other for like 12 years. We better be able to finish a few sentences at this point.
It's a pleasure to see, because you're not used to seeing this. You're used to as strangers interacting with each other, so the dynamic isn't there. And then I see it with you guys immediately. I'm like, damn, these guys are pros. So yeah, Bob,
it's like we're married or something.
Yeah, maybe that's
well,
it.
It's because like I get packages in the mail, and I'm like, what are all these like fireproof bags? And he's like, oh, babe, like, what do you mean, babe? I'm like, what? Okay.
I mean, if you don't have
like giant fireproof bags,
okay,
I'm like,
Bob, you want to take it to another level? Get yourself some Faraday bags.
Faraday bags.
Get yourself a gun or 5. Stash knives and weapons throughout your entire house, and that is probably the best thing you can do to prevent against the $5 wrench attack, which is most realistically the biggest attack vector.
That's what I worry about.
Like the $5 wrench attack,
like as a small woman too.
It's a more likely situation than somebody finding a way to break through your. Like, they're not going to crack your hardware wallet. They might somehow crack a cloud-based, hot wallet, maybe, but they will not crack anything if you got a gun pointed at it.
No, I completely agree, and I think that that really, because that really emphasizes something that I think that a lot of people getting into the space get absolutely wrong, which is like, oh, someone's going to hack my stuff. No. What they're going to do is they're going to show up, which is why it's called the $5 wrench attack. They're going to show up to your house if they know where you live. They're going to come up with the $5 wrench. They're going to put it over your head and say, hey, give me your crypto. So there's many ways to protect it. Look, there's no perfect solution. There is what the crypto couple was suggesting, which is basically, load up. I live in a red state, so that's something I do personally myself. You could also, however, take advantage of multi-sig, and you could geographically separate your seeds. So even if an attacker does get you, you could literally look at him and says, bro, I can't even give it to you if I wanted to, because I have to drive to another location to completely sign that transaction so it's ready to broadcast. So there's many, many different ways to get into this. You're just at the beginning of the rabbit hole. But Bob, we hope we answered your question. Anyways, Phil, it's time for... Go Bob! Phil, it's time for...
The Daily Fail. Brought to you by Amber App. Check them out. It's a Bitcoin stacking app by actual Bitcoiners. Low fees, fair spreads, smart automation. The link is down below.
Amber, the smart way to stack sats.
All right, everyone. Got some pretty bad fails today. We're going to dive right into it. Here we go. This is the first one. This is a tweet from Snoop Dogg. Now, personally, being a child of the 80s and having grown up, in the perfect time to hear when Doggy Style came out, when Dr. Dre's The Chronic came out, this is very sad. This is very sad. Not surprising, but sad. Let's listen here to what Snoop had to say.
I just want to thank y'all. Right now, the number 1, 2, 3 spot belongs to Snoop Dogg. To the NFT community, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for supporting.
Okay. That's enough of that for now. So look, we always say this about the shitcoiners. The problem with Bitcoin is that they can't make it about them, right? They have to actually contribute to Bitcoin. They have to provide value. They have to figure out how to properly create something that other people are actually going to want to use or be a part of or interact with. And it's not even theirs entirely. Bitcoin is everyone's. But when it comes to the shitcoining, it's all theirs. And look, as much as I love Snoop Dogg, this is a fucking fail. Before I move on to the next one, because it does get hotter, right? The next one's going to be pretty hyperbolic. Does anybody have any comments on?
Yeah,
on this?
look, real quick, dude, how much are they paying him? How much are they paying Snoop? That's the only reason he's interested in this. You know, that's the only reason that the celebrities are interested in this. We've shown you examples of like Solana Labs reaching out to me personally. Hey, would you like BitVault to be it's like, that's the scam, right? They get high profile people, they get influencers, they pay them under the table to promote these NFTs and to make you think that they're buying it just like the rest of us. But in reality, they're getting little shekels under the table. I'll just say that, right? So anyways, Carla, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's funny because the other day, I got a DM and I'll just turn to Walker because we have separate desks, and I'm like, I just got an offer to be in a documentary about Snoop Dogg and NFTs. What? I just look at him because we still have day jobs, right? So I look at him, I'm like, what? But I'm like, this is when people clearly don't look at any of the stuff we do, because they would know that we don't do anything like that. So it's just if you're not even going to do the research.
I mean, here's the thing for me. It's I am all about artists, especially up and coming ones.
Screw labels.
Paid fairly for the amazing fucking work that they do.
Labels
and
are
not getting screwed over by these labels that own the fucking copyright to every song going back 100 years until that cutoff ends, where it's statute of limitations up, and now you can use it rights free. So 1921 music, I'm coming at you right now.
It's true.
But
it's just a new money scheme, though.
There is absolutely, I think, I see the problem that is trying to be solved, but I don't think that the solution is solving it yet. Clearly.
Yeah.
There is the potential for it, but this current implementation of what people deem as a solution is not necessarily doing it. Now, there are also artists who are talking about how these things are being beneficial to them right now, and I'm very glad for that. But what is the long-term sustainability of this, and how much damage are you potentially doing to technologies that could be useful in the future by the way that you are promoting them now?
Yeah.
It's we all agree that artists should be paid more, that labels shouldn't have this massive amount, and not just musical artists, but fucking art artists too. We all want them to get paid more.
To play devil's advocate, though, the celebrity element that is coming into it, which is Snoop, which is Paris Hilton, which is whoever you want to be. You have people coming up to us asking us about NFTs. We have friends, and then we start to talk to them about Bitcoin. We'll sort of guide them once they come up to us, because we're not trying to be some Jehovah's Witnesses, right? We're not going up to all of our friends being this is what you should do.
Just most.
But if someone comes up to us being oh, I heard about this NFT, or I want to buy this NFT, we're going to be well, let me tell you about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I think the celebrity element is actually at least priming a really large group of people that is going to be really important going forward.
I mean, that's the thing. I remember when Wheat Witherspoon, came out and was
it's what?
Came out and started putting stuff out there. Love her, think she's fantastic. But found it very telling. This was the entry point that she found into the industry, right? This is where she found her little nexus, her little locus.
Because everyone wants to capitalize on it.
And naturally so, right? People love money. This is not new. Money is literally the bedrock of everything that we do. It's how we measure our time and energy. But it's interesting that this is the place that a lot of celebrities are coming in.
But it's not interesting. It's obvious.
I think
a lot of athletes coming in on the Bitcoin side first, which I think is very interesting, because athletes, that's proof of work. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're an athlete, that is proof of work. You get it innately. You have to work for everything you have right now.
Yeah. I agree. Look, I definitely think that it was, with all the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? But it's clearly been completely taken over by these VCs, by these companies that are using celebrity endorsements to pump these digital Deanie Babies, but they're not really, scarce because you could make an exact photocopy of them. And I just think they're taking advantage of people. But anyways, to each their own. We are libertarian Bitcoiners after all. Right? So if you want to buy some thing that I can make an exact photocopy of, playing Command R, then so be it. No, Command C, I think it is. Anyways, Phil, what's the next fail?
All right, let's get a little hyperbolic here. Get ready. All right, so...
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's right. We're going there, right? The man who shall not be named. Anyways, so this was interesting. As I was doing, research for this Time magazine cover, I didn't realize a lot of people think that it's the cover with him on it. But really, this was the Time magazine cover back on February 2nd, 1939. And if you take a look at this, this is actually pretty creepy.
It's in Oregon?
Yeah, it's called From the Unholy Organist, a hymn of hate. Okay? And this isn't actually the fail. This is just to illustrate some of the complete clusterfucks that have been on the cover of Time magazine. And we're gonna move on here. We're gonna take a look. We've got Joseph Stalin as well, 1943, another great pick, okay, by Time magazine. But
he deserved it.
But wait, 2022. Move over. We've got Vitalik. That's right. We've got the prince of shitcoins has concerns. Oh, my pre-mined shitcoin castle may tumble. Anyways, Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin fights to fix the world he created. So this is really interesting. Okay, before we move on to the last fail, I just want to give everybody a chance to riff on this, but Nico and I were talking about this before the fail, and they can't put Satoshi on the cover, right? They can't put even though it probably should just be like a question mark with like a faded Bitcoin logo or something like that. I don't know. Really they can't put him on the cover, but what they can do is put this affinity scammer on the cover, and by doing this, it validates this pre-mined, centralized garbage to the world and says, hey, this is just like Bitcoin. But it's a little bit different. This is nothing like Bitcoin. This is complete garbage. We've already shown you this. After the 2016 Deo hack, this thing failed already. It's already failed. It's already a piece of garbage. We show you guys the rec leaderboard and all of the, what is it now? Over $1 billion lost in DeFi protocols with all these stupid liquidity pools. So look, this is just nonsense. And you know what? This is another time where Times got it wrong.
Yeah. Got it wrong. Dude, look, just real quick. The innovation with Bitcoin, right, is, and this goes back to the Bretton Woods thing, right, is that as long as human beings are able to manipulate the monetary policy, it will inevitably get corrupted, right? We started with the gold standard, the Bretton Woods Agreement. Over time, that started to degrade. Then 1971, right, took us completely off the gold standard. Now we've just been fiat, right? And that has happened throughout history many, many times. Back in the Roman Republic, the Roman Empire, the money started with 85, 90% silver. Towards the end of the empire, it had 0.00, some fractional amount, right? So why am I bringing this up? Because if we don't separate the monetary policy away from humans, even with the best intentions, it will be corrupted. Why? Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. So while Times is focusing on the man, the man to fix Germany, the man to fix Russia, the man to fix money, right? The man is the problem. You need to take it away from the equation completely, and only Bitcoin does that. Anyways, Walker, what are your thoughts?
I mean, first of all, that was poetic and beautiful. Like, right, the man is the problem. I think it's interesting. Obviously, Time has a funny history of putting up very intriguing covers, and I get that they're trying to cast cultural commentary, or perhaps I'm being very forgiving here, on the era, and I understand that. I also like Vitalik himself. I don't think he's some evil guy. I think he's just
A nerd.
huge fucking nerd, and he's very young still. Like, this kid was working on Bitcoin and then Ethereum like a long time ago. So like, he's been around for a while. I do, however, think that a lot of the people that surround him are not quite so purely nerdy and have very, very different profit motives than Vitalik. Like, I don't think that guy probably really cares about being rich because he's already insanely wealthy, right? Like, and clearly he's not like spending that money on normal people things. I don't know what he's spending it on or if he's spending it, but like, there are also obviously a very, let's say, well-connected group of people around him whose tentacles stretch to all the corners in the world that have a vested interest in seeing this Ethereum experiment succeed. And their motivations, I would say, are slightly more nefarious and statist.
If I may add, and this is something like, whatever, we do comedy, so like, I think it is a little funny that Time put like a Russian on the cover right now.
That's true.
It's true.
Like, I'm Romanian, so like, I understand there are like the Eastern, like, I work for Moldova, like, I'm from Romania, so like, Russia is like not like, I'm not like boogeyman, whatever, but like, with everything going on in the world and war and everything, it's like, Time cover, here is a Russian Vitalik.
No.
Like, and what if they swap chains?
But remember, though, he went against he agreed with the narrative, so he's an okay Russian. He's an okay Russian.
He's a palatable Russian. We'll allow him for now until he doesn't say the right thing.
He's allowed to use money. The other Russians, on the other hand, no, they're not allowed. They're
not the whole country, yeah.
No,
bad, right?
100 million people, nah, it's okay. Anyways, Phil, what is the last fail?
All right, let's wrap it up. Here we go. Right on the heels of showing you. And by the way, I just wanted to mention that I did go and check. It is a proper link at times.com where you can see that article cover. So it is legit. It's not a troll. Somebody thought it was just a meme. Anyways. On the heels of this, here we go, talking about rug pulls and scams. Unlucky Agave and 100 finance DeFi protocols exploited for $11 million. Shout out to Lucky Redfish for tagging us in this. That's right, we're all very surprised once again. The attack comes within 24 hours of the news breaking of the Deuce finance exploit. That's right, that was a couple of days ago, right? $3 million in the Deuce finance exploit. It's a very interesting name that they called themselves Deuce. Anyways, all right, so the attacker ran the exploit, continually borrowing against the same collateral they were posting until the funds were drained from the protocol. Oh my gosh, they drained a liquidity pool. This has never happened. We've never seen this. Anyways, Sheegan told Cointelegraph the similarity to Avi meant it seems top tier safe, but wasn't. And that break of trust hurts. It's like you can't even trust safe code. This code was never safe.
Well, I mean, that's the problem, though, that you have to trust. That's the thing that Bitcoin fixes, and then these people just like, anyways.
Nico,
it's like they're like, this improvised explosive device blew up before it was supposed to.
Exactly.
Walker,
exactly.
I mean, it's on the user, right? Avi was used in an unsafe way.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it's our fault.
I mean, what was that user wearing? I don't know.
Oh man, it's so ridiculous.
That's totally PC. That joke I just made, just to clarify.
I liked it. Okay, so here we go. So to wrap it up, Sheegan also didn't point the blame at Gnosis for creating tokens with a callback function that the hacker exploited, saying that the feature stops users from accidentally losing their crypto. So I want people to think about this. I want you to think about this for a second. They made a feature to stop people from accidentally losing their crypto, and the feature was exploited to steal $11 million.
And people lost their crypto.
I don't even know. What do you say to that?
Dude,
like, that makes no sense.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. I don't know.
No, I just have one thing to say. You guys have heard me. This doesn't happen in Bitcoin. Just stick to Bitcoin. Yeah. Stick to Bitcoin. Stick to Bitcoin. The unicorns and the fucking, what is this, agave or whatever? They're just gonna get wrecked. Anyways, guys, you have some final thoughts before we move on to the next segment.
I'm just gonna agree with you when you say stick to Bitcoin, because like I have like a lot of different interests, but you know, in some ways I'm just a lazy girl. So when it comes to like alt shitcoins, whatever it is, like I don't have the brain space. I don't want to. Like with Bitcoin, like that's all I learned, that's all I do, that's all I buy. I set it, forget it, and that's it, because I'm lazy. So like if you're lazy, just do Bitcoin. Don't worry about the other shit.
Yeah, it's true.
Get your
And you'll still come out on top. Oh, sorry,
Yes,
Walker.
exactly. Exactly.
So it's like you have this really unique cheat code. All you have to do is like press one button.
Rosebud.
It's not like up, down, A, B, A, B. It's like just one button, and it's just the Bitcoin button, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all you do is you just press that button. And because most of the world still hasn't wised up to it, this is a cheat code right now.
Yep, it is.
Like,
But you still need the stomach for it. And that is something
is
that
very true.
you know, we all have been through, but obviously people who haven't been through yet, it is still scary. So maybe there's something about like nursing those times that will help people.
You have to, what we call is you have to pay the price of tuition. And it's definitely the first year, second year that you're getting into the space sucks. Usually what we recommend on the show, or what we say on the show, it really takes about 3 to 4 years to start feeling the benefits, where you look at your portfolio and you're like, holy crap, I didn't even know that was possible, right? So yeah, long time preference, or, you could try to gamble and get rug pulled. Those are your options. But anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin cultural zine. It's stories, articles, comics by actual Bitcoiners. This is volume 10. This is the artwork. Every volume has different artwork, and they're scarce. There's only 1,000 physical copies made per volume. So get your print of Citadel 21 today before they run out. All right, first meme brought to us by Rui Havenstein. All right, check it out. Silicon Valley, literally anything. A problem that can only be solved by creating an Aurelian surveillance hellscape. It's so true. It's so true. All right, moving on to the next one. All right, this is by Saint Bitcoin. Sometimes, guys, we review pictures that serve as memes, but anyways, check it out. Left March 5th, 2022, right? And the price of those water bottles were $3.39, and then a couple months later, $3.99. Holy crap. But remember, the inflation rate is only 7.9%.
And this is water.
And this is water.
More than anything else.
Dude, Walker, you sound like an alt-right extremist, to be honest.
I'm sure a radical thought extremist.
You're clearly you've been watching Alex Jones. Okay, anyways.
Can't go spouting about freedom like this. Dangerous.
Unbelievable.
All right, does he bite? No, but he can hurt you in other ways. Republicans have never actually decreased the size of the government. It's so true. Amen to that. Amen to that. All right. Okay. God damn it, Phil. Okay.
Yes, that's right.
This is by Ghost of Stony. What's miners really getting into Armalite rifle game? Check out the AR M20. Can't wait to take this bad boy to the range and run some hash. And he's making the guy that came. He makes this paper that war is being replaced by ASIC miners, and plebs are making fun of it, and Phil makes me review these memes. But anyways, look.
I've been watching the drama.
At the end of the day,
it's amazing.
Not gonna lie, that is pretty fucking funny. Okay, moving on. Even though I do like some of his work. Okay, so, but you still could find it funny.
No one's questioning that.
Next one by the Anti-Woke Podcast, pal. We're on track to raise rates 7 times in 2022. Same energy. 15 days to swap. It's true. It's true. All right. Next one is by Wall Street Silver. Live view of the Fed fighting inflation with a 0.25%. That's a fucking wildfire. All right. Last but not least, the legendary video. What put these guys on the radar? We're about to watch it. Let's check it out.
Move over, Bitcoin. It's gold's time to shine. Environmentally harmful to mine, difficult to store, and even harder to divide.
Rich, decadent gold is the best money governments can confiscate and banks can manipulate.
Thick, toxic streaks of mercury and silky cyanide, pollute and caress ecosystems in developing countries.
But gold is worth the massive human and ecological toll because you can touch it.
And if you can touch it, it has value. Science.
That's why Bitcoin has no intrinsic value. Bitcoin only offers a secure, global, trustless monetary infrastructure to anyone, anywhere with an internet connection.
But owning gold makes you special.
So let's go back to the gold standard.
And the typewriter.
And the horse-drawn carriage.
Because who wants the future of money when you can own a piece of the past?
Gold. Because you're old.
Okay, amazing. Top quality stuff. Amazing memes and awesome meme video. I hope that music wasn't copyrighted because then we're fucked.
No, I use Creative Commons.
Woo! Okay.
I license everything.
She can show it.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good.
Awesome. Okay.
awesome, by the way.
Yeah, dude, awesome memes. And for those awesome memes, because you said confiscatable, I'm going to give it an unconfiscatable goodie bag thing. This is the ballet, actual physical barrier bonds, whatever. Anyways, we got these with the goodie bags. Focus. There we go.
There you go.
All right. Phil, what would you give those memes?
All right. Awesome memes. I loved the video. And actually, the part where right at the beginning where you see the gold kind of it actually even makes you think you can drink it. I'm just saying. It reminds me of maple syrup. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise anyone. Okay, I'm giving it a very special score. It's a very unique, niche sticker made off of a very popular podcaster's comments about the toxic Bitcoiners. It is a Nerd Castle sticker. That's right.
love it.
It's a classic.
CryptoCloaks prints those.
Yep, very good. Shout out to CryptoCloaks. Anyways, Carla and Walker, what would you give those memes?
A wiener.
Ooh, a wiener!
That-
Incredible
That's
story.
awesome. I'm gonna give it an inflatable burrito that you can throw.
Oh my gosh!
Amazing scores. I thought I pulled out the big guns, but we got a burrito,
We got
and
right here.
a burrito, a wiener,
Come on, a burrito and a wiener.
and a sticker. Wow, man,
Burrito and a wiener, same thing.
We got upplayed by the crypto couple. Anyways, guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores. You disagree, let us know down in the comment section. And make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms like rumble.com and our personal favorite, bitcointv.com. They don't censor there. It's Bitcoin TV because it's Bitcoin TV. And, of course, make sure to join our Telegram group. Link us some dank Bitcoin memes to review. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
The Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the famous 3D printed Bitcoin Honey Badger, right? They make this, comes in 3 different shapes and sizes. Not different shapes, just different sizes. And of course, the customizable blah blah blah. Bitcoin art sculpture grenade, super famous. I'm sure you've seen it around. You can open up, put your favorite hardware wallet in there, and you can get this in any custom color your heart desires, like I said before, and you can take advantage of the link down below for 5% off, CryptoCloaks.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I told you we are in the Then They Fight You stage, and we correctly predicted that they were going to use the Russia narrative to try to attack Bitcoin. And that's exactly what the F they did. Anyways, I'm going to shut up. Let's play this video by our favorite Bitcoin enemy, Elizabeth Warren. Let's see what she has to say, and then we will methodically debunk it. Anyways.
Mr. Levin, let's consider one of Putin's cronies who already has $1 billion or so in crypto that he wants to hide from the governments that are enforcing sanctions on oligarchs. Now, can this oligarch make it harder to trace his money if he hops from one blockchain to another, if he deposits those tokens into a couple of wallets that don't require him to provide identifying information, and if he uses a mixing service that launders his money with other people's money?
Thank you, Senator. So the scenario that you describe, where an oligarch has $1 billion to be able to launder, requires significant amounts of liquidity to be able to obfuscate that amount of money through the use of cryptocurrency. In fact, many times we've been able to identify.
I'm sorry. Let me just remind you of what my question was again. What I'm asking is about the tools that are available. Now, he may have to break it up into multiple pieces of, who knows, $100 million at a crack. But the question I'm asking is, does hopping from one blockchain to another, does depositing tokens in a couple of wallets that don't require him to provide identifying information, and does using a mixing service all make it easier for him to hide his money?
So, Senator, the answer to that question is no, because the chain hopping that occurs, you need to actually provide the tokens, which in a transparent way that allows you to move across blockchains. We've actually got software that allows you to...
So you don't think chain hopping makes it any easier to hide your money? How about depositing tokens in wallets that don't require identifying information?
She needs this.
You can always split the money up into wallets that don't require...
And that would help hide the money. And how about using a mixing service?
That doesn't remove the record of where the money actually sits.
But the question I'm asking is, does it make it harder to track the money?
No, so it doesn't make it harder to track the money, because
using a mixing service, you're telling me, doesn't make it harder to launder money?
The daily liquidity value of mixing services globally is about $30 million.
So you might have to do this day by day?
And we have done extensive work in tracking large sums of money through mixers that have led to the arrests of people and the disruption of their activity.
I'm actually a little surprised by your answer, since you charge a lot of money to untangle and track assets through the system, and the system keeps developing more ways to obscure that money, and that's part of what you advertise.
Okay. So she thought she had a home run because she had the CEO of Chain Analysis, which, by the way, we're not fans of because they make their money analyzing the chain, analyzing the Bitcoin blockchain. And what she's trying to do, which is what we predicted, by the way, 2 weeks ago, is, do you hear that? If your wallet isn't tied to your identity, that potentially could fund Russia. These mixing services are dangerous because, but wait a second. And when he started answering the way that didn't fit her narrative, anyways, let's dig a little bit deeper into the bill. But before I want to do that, you guys know the deal. We are single issue voters on this show. We will support any candidate, whether they're Democratic, Republican, as long as they stand with the ethos of Bitcoin and they support Bitcoin. So I'm going to name these senators by name so that you guys remember them, because these are the people that are actively attacking self-custody. So first, Miss Warren, Mr. Reed, Mr. Warner, Mr. Tester, Mrs. Duckworth, Miss Stabenow, Mr. Warnock, Mr. Van Hollen, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Cortez Mastro, and Mr. Menendez. All of those representatives are currently supporting an attack on Bitcoin. So let's debunk this, shall we? This is a post by Coin Center. It says Senator Warren and a raft of Democratic co-sponsors today introduced a bill, which we'll put down in the link description, guys, titled the Digital Asset Sanctions Compliance and Enforcement Act, which would place sweeping restrictions on cryptocurrency ecosystem under the guise of bolstering sanctions against Russia for its unjustified invasion of Ukraine. She has done this despite the fact that there is no data suggesting that cryptocurrency has been used or can meaningfully be used by sanctioned parties to evade sanctions, despite the fact that frontline officials from the White House, Treasury, and the Department of Justice have all stated that cryptocurrency is a poor tool for sanction evasion and one they have well under control. Let's go through those statements by other members of government. This is FBI Director Christopher Wray. The Russians' ability to circumvent the sanctions with cryptocurrency is probably highly overestimated on the part of maybe them and others. We are, as a community and with our partners overseas, far more effective on that than I think sometimes they appreciate. We have built up significant expertise both at the FBI and with some of our partners, and there have been some very significant seizures, other efforts that I think have exposed the vulnerability of cryptocurrency as a way to get around sanctions. From the White House, the scale that the Russian state would need to successfully circumvent all U.S. and partner financial sanctions would almost certainly render cryptocurrency as an ineffective primary tool for the state. All right, next one from Treasury. The scale of what they have to move and where they have to move things from, crypto not necessarily going to be that concerning, said Todd Conkler, counselor to the Deputy Treasury Secretary. Any attempt to move that much money through exchanges would contribute to a bit more of a spike in the crypto market, in my view, than has been observed lately. Nevertheless, the bill would place sweeping restrictions on persons who build, operate, and use cryptocurrency networks, even if they have no knowledge or intent to help anyone evade sanctions. It calls for sanctioning technologists and users merely for the act of publishing open source software facilitating communication among network participants. This is unnecessary, overboard, and unconstitutional. But wait, there's more. Check this out. This is from the actual Treasury themselves. The use of virtual assets for money laundering remains far below that of fiat currency and more traditional methods. Terrorist use of virtual assets appears to remain limited when compared to other financial products and services. There is no evidence that a proliferation network has used a virtual asset to procure a specific proliferation-sensitive good or technology. So this video, this attempt, this fucking bill is an attempt to kill Bitcoin, to go after developers, to kill the anonymity of Bitcoin, to use Ted Cruz's own words, because Elizabeth Warren can't control it.
By the way, that is also why China recently banned Bitcoin. Because they can't control it, which is the exact same reason Elizabeth Warren hates Bitcoin. The Chinese communists and Elizabeth Warren, they both want to control you. Your assets, your savings, your speech, your life, your children, every decision they want to control. And so we need to break up the means of controlling the citizenry.
This has nothing to do with evading sanctions because Elizabeth Warren knows all of this. She knows all of those statements. She's not dumb. But she's taking advantage of the situation in Russia to try to play on people's emotions to pass something that is helping millions and millions and millions, if not billions of people around the world own private property without the fear of confiscation or debasement for the first time in human history. And Elizabeth Warren is against that. Elizabeth Warren is anti-human. That's what she is. And she said multiple times in that video, she was attacking self-custody. She wants self-custody to be tied to an ID. Why? Because they can control that. Anyways, moving on before I shut up. I know this has been a long segment, but this is very fucking important. This is implications of outlawing Bitcoin by Gigi. And what are those implications? And mind you, this was written in 2001, right? In light of recent comments by legislators and politicians, we must not forget what Bitcoin does and how it does what it does. Bitcoin is text. Bitcoin is speech. Bitcoin is math. Bitcoin has no jurisdiction, just like 2 + 2 = has no jurisdiction. Bitcoin knows no borders. Bitcoin is everywhere and nowhere. And if used and secured properly, Bitcoin is as confiscatable as a thought. No amount of legalese and otherwise complicated language will change these facts. Using Bitcoin does not require any special equipment. We use software, specialized hardware to use Bitcoin more efficiently and in a more secure manner, but in theory, Bitcoin could be run on paper. The following statements are and will always be true. You can create a private key by flipping a coin. Holding a private key allows you to receive sats and create transactions. Creating a transaction is math. Sending a transaction is sending a message. Mining Bitcoin is guessing a number. Everything in Bitcoin is information. A wallet is nothing special. It could be just some words in your head. You don't need specialized equipment to generate a secure wallet. A coin or some dice is all you need. If you want to outlaw anonymous wallets, which is what Elizabeth Warren was referring to, you will have to outlaw this activity along with all other activities to create random numbers. Rolling dice, drawing cards, measuring optical and atmospheric turbulences, and so on. Remember, this information, this 256-bit number, is all you need to interact with the Bitcoin network. You do not need an ID or a passport or utility bill or proof of residency. You do not need to be human. If you are in control of a Bitcoin private key, you can send and receive transactions. If you want to understand Bitcoin, you will have to understand that a wallet can be created flipping a coin 256 times. You can't ban Bitcoin because it's speech. And what is the First Amendment of the U.S.? Freedom of what? Speech. But Elizabeth Warren doesn't give a shit about that. And I think Houghton, this is the last thing I'm going to read before I shut the fuck up. Hodlnaut describes it perfectly. Why are Elizabeth Warren panties in a bunch? Bitcoin makes cheating and manipulation impossible on the base incentive layer. It is a cataclysmic event for politicians. This is something, like Ted Cruz said, which I'll play a clip of tomorrow when you guys see the video, something that she cannot control. And tyrants on both sides are short-circuiting at the fact that millions of people could use money without their hands getting hands on that money. People could transact freely. So the Democratic Party, and again, we're apolitical on the show, is supposed to represent the underdog. You know who is most hurt about inflation? Elizabeth Warren? Lower and lower middle class people that don't have the wealth to save in assets and real estate. So if you're against Bitcoin, you are directly attacking your supposed voter base. And you're directly attacking millions upon millions around people around the world that they don't have legacy systems like Cuba, like Afghanistan, like the Ukraine. They're receiving money from overseas. Through your system, they can't do that. So that's what you're fucking attacking, Elizabeth Warren. You're an anti-human, corrupt psychopath. That's what you are. You have to be called out for it. Anyways, I know there's a long segment, but I had to get it all on the table. Phil, what are your thoughts on this?
I was on mute. It was beautifully done, man. That was absolutely fantastic. I just want to point out, watching Elizabeth Warren not get her way during that interview was, during that that questioning period was absolutely fantastic. Okay, like that was amazing, and you could see that she was absolutely hating how he was responding, which is why she kept attempting to cut him off and dig deeper into the nuance, because this is what happens. Okay, this is what I've noticed by some of like the smartest people that I've ever watched argue. Okay, what happens is that if their point isn't actually right, if they just want to be right, but what they're saying isn't entirely accurate, they use the intelligence to lose you in the nuance, because at some point they're going to get you deep enough in the weeds that you could agree with something that they say that somehow they're going to purport back to what they started with. So anyways, the other piece to this is, I don't understand how she reconciles, being somebody that talks about, community help and outreach and rights and all this stuff, how you reconcile that with being completely against personal freedom. Like, I don't see how she doesn't see that. Dude,
because it's not dude,
it's insane.
That's the thing. It's never been about sanctioning Russia. It was all laid out there. It's not being used for that. This is an attempt to capitalize on a horrible crisis to try to go after Bitcoin. And I suspected this was exactly what was going to happen. Phil, remember when those articles first started coming out? Like a week or before the Ukraine thing? I'm like, dude, they're going to use this to try to attack Bitcoin. Here's the attack. But out of all people, the head of chain analysis was the one that made her look like a complete fool. Anyways, Carla and Walker, what are your thoughts on this shabacle?
Well, on the one hand, I totally see how it's about Bitcoin, but I also see it as potentially just being about personal freedom and privacy, because I feel like the US government will use any sort of attack and capitalize on that to remove our freedoms, regardless of the evidence against it, judging by how a lot of the procedures in travel and a lot of other things still are executed today. So Bitcoin is definitely a large part of it, but I think like any thought of personal sovereignty has become so threatening to the government, which is just so wrong because they don't give us our rights, right? They're supposed to defend our rights. So the fact that us having our freedoms is threatening to the point where they will demonize Bitcoin. They will demonize anything that helps people is really, really concerning. And that's why we do what we do, is because we try through humor to get people to just ask the right questions, to realize these things, because it is obvious, it is staring you in the face, but people aren't necessarily listening to the voices that are saying it because it's boring. So we're just trying to make it a little fun.
Am I allowed to swear on here?
You absolutely are.
Politicians don't give a flying motherfuck about sanctions, about money laundering, or any of this. If they did, every major bank in the world would be shut down. I believe in 2021 alone, $15 billion in fines was paid. 15 billion in fines was paid. Don't quote me on the exact number, but it's close. By the major banks around the world for money laundering and terrorist financing by the biggest banks in the world. And they were hit with 15 billion in fines. How much money do you think they laundered? We have to assume 10 times that at a minimum, right? In terms of the levy of the fine. But the point is that the politicians don't give a motherfuck about what people are doing illegally. They give a shit about controlling their citizens, their constituents.
What'd you do with your $600?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren, I think, the strange thing is I agree with her on certain things. I don't think she's wrong about everything. She's not an idiot. She clearly knows what she's talking about many things. She's very, very vocal about not wanting people to be trading stocks in Congress. Yes. Great. I support that too.
Yes.
Right? Just buy Bitcoin instead. That's just a currency. That's all good. But she's very vocal about that. She's been vocal about Bitcoin and crypto for a long time. This is just her new attack vector into this space. This is the new shiny thing that came about where instead, how long before Elizabeth Warren blames inflation on Bitcoin?
It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
It's going to happen.
I think
it's coming.
And again, this is why we like to zoom out on this show. We're not a speculation show, right? This is about the separation of money and state, right? And I think Elizabeth Warren is one of those few politicians that are understanding that her livelihood, her racket, her ability to take advantage of the money spigot is literally disappearing in front of her eyes because people are choosing to use an alternative system, right? So that is what there's no other conclusion you can get to that. Elizabeth Warren knows the White House doesn't agree, the Treasury, the FBI, none of them. Doesn't matter, but she still used that rhetoric to try to attack it. What is that? What is that but not being able to come to terms with the fact that she can't control the way that people use money?
I think you are so spot on with that, because what is this pushback that we see from the statists, from the elites? It is a rejection of the fact that in the current, so for forever, money will buy power. This is a fact. It doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin or fiat. Money will always buy power. That's how it works, because money is time and energy put into a form that can be traded, right? But Bitcoin, for the first time, does not allow your power to buy you money. In our current fiat system, proximity to power enables you to benefit from the monetary system that exists. Yes. This is the problem. Bitcoin nothing will ever change the fact that if you have a lot of money, you're going to be powerful. That's just that is a fact. You have the most amount of resources that you can deploy in discretionary ways. But at least with Bitcoin, your proximity to power no longer buys you favor in a monetary sense.
Yes, correct.
And that is so important. I think that Elizabeth Warren is making a massive political miscalculation here. I think it's the same as what China has done.
I don't see the support for it, honestly.
China has made a massive miscalculation
on
as
her
well.
side.
The thing that may actually save the U.S. from being completely fucking obliterated by China is the fact that China is so anti-Bitcoin.
I think it's gonna really, really come in and shape a new American Renaissance. I really believe that. I think that China thought that they were going to, have this, the first time they showed off their CBDC to the West was during the Olympics. That wasn't a coincidence, right? So like, yeah, I agree. But I think that, and I've always said this, and people a lot smarter than me in Bitcoin have said this as well, is that Bitcoin's unintended feature is exposing tyrants. Right. And I think that, the Chinese Communist Party has their way. Elizabeth Warren, I can't come to any conclusion. I can't come to another conclusion of the fact that she can't stand the fact that she can't control this. Right. So, but anyways, Phil, there was an open source software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases brought to you by CipherSafe. Check them out. CipherSafe.io. It's the best place to store your Bitcoin seed. Store your seed in the Cypher Wheel or the all-new Cypher Grid. Both come with tamper-resistant wire, and the Cypher Grid comes with a punch tool. All right, we've got Electrum version 4.2.0 that was released. It's down below in the show notes. Guys, don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. And if you want to stream us sats, check us out on Anchor FM.
Awesome.
On Fountain.fm.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, before we go, I'm going to give a very special shout out to our thread sponsor, rephard.com. Phil and I wear the hoodies every day, and you can take advantage of the link down below for 10% off anything off the rephard.com store. Definitely go check it out. I also want to give a very special guest to the awesome and wonderful Crypto Couple. You can go give them a follow on Twitter, and definitely go check out all their content on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. We will put all of that down in the link description. Guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, smash that like button. Smash it. Of course, if you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the plebe perspective and the catastrophic fails from the World Economic Forum and their friends at Ethereum, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin, and we'll see you on Monday, guys, for a brand new episode.
To quote our awesome guests, Bitcoin doesn't allow us to buy money with power.